timing is impeccable because it is exactly 4:30 and we will start. And one promise I will make is we will be out of here by no later than 6 o'clock. Oftentimes our meetings take more than 60 minutes because we have stuff to do, but no way, Jose, are we staying past 6 o'clock. So I can assure you that, particularly given the longer drive out here. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the most remote location, farthest out location.
Watertown.
They're
Okay.
equally remote depending on where you're coming from.
True,
Yeah.
yes.
This is farther away from me than Watertown,
Watertown.
but only by 10
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, first of all, it's nice to see everybody. It's been a couple of months. As you know, we did have a meeting in May. And we have a fair amount to do today. Most importantly, for the sake of the board, we have bylaws to discuss, which is very important. So, as I discussed with Jody, I'd like to give about 30 minutes today to our discussion about the bylaws. We will not vote on the bylaws today. We'll have an initial discussion today, and then there will be some time to cogitate over those, and then we'll discuss more and then vote next time.
I'm going to make it easier for you to put over that chair, so you don't
Be my
have to
guest, absolutely.
crane in your neck.
No worries. Okay, so on the agenda that you were sent, under agenda review and adoption, it says May 12, 2026 and June 9, 2026.
And no, then Lisa can have my seat.
Yes.
Hi. Sorry, I'm late.
So there is no agenda for May 12 for us to approve, so we can just strike that out. But for today's agenda, I'd like to begin by asking if there are any board members that would like modifications of the agenda. Are there any items that folks would like to add? Are there any items that folks feel strongly about being deleted today? So let's find out if anybody would like to see the agenda modified. Okay, well, I have one item that I'd like to add. Actually, it's two items under number 6, unfinished and new business. And that is, with your help, Jody, 2 events in June and next month, this month and next month, that I think would be of interest to the board members to think about participating in. The MLA Big Issue Summit and then the MLA Legislative Forum. So we'll talk about those briefly when we get to item 6. All right, so that's the only modification then of today's agenda. And so I would like to ask for, and one other thing, item 9, correspondence additional information, item 9, we can just strike that item out for the duration. That item we never get to, it's not relevant. So we'll just make sure that when Susan prepares the agendas, that we can just eliminate that tonight. Okay. So could I have a motion, please, to approve the modified agenda to the June 9, 2026 board meeting?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. So you want last names?
It would be great if folks would say Bachman.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wait,
then-
Boxman, so moved.
Yeah, thank you, because I can't type fast.
Yeah.
That helps me.
Okay.
And also,
It's my turn, but if
is it?
you are very welcome to do it.
I got it going. You can do it next
Okay,
time.
all right, sounds good.
I'm sorry, in my head.
He's going to get us trained.
But in general, that's good practice.
Okay, so Bachman moved, Eggers seconded. All right, all those in favor of approving the motion to modify today's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Okay, item 3, the April 14, 2026 meeting, the last meeting we had. I just found 2 typos, and they're not even worth mentioning. I'll just hand those over to you, Margot. They're trivial, but we should clean them out.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just hand those over to you. In my own review of the minutes, I didn't find anything else. The minutes were very well written. Thank you very much. And Are there any items on the minutes that people feel need to be modified?
I just couldn't remember for the 2-year Ativa telephone, is that like a renewal or a new contract?
That's a renewal.
And then what does STOC stand for?
Stock employees, I don't know, what does stock stand for?
Seasonal, temporary, on call. Yeah.
Thank you.
I remembered it. Wow.
It's hard to remember these acronyms.
Yeah.
Yes.
I asked that last year, I'm like, what's
Okay. Any other pieces about the minutes from the last meeting? Okay, there being none, could I have a motion to please approve the slightly modified minutes of the April 14th meeting?
So moved, Parker.
Parker moves. Do I have a second?
Lindquist, seconded.
All those in favor of approving the modified minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions. Okay, we now get to that part of the agenda where members of the public have an opportunity to provide feedback to us and just to remind the members of the public that are here a couple of rules. If you have general comments that you'd like to make to the board today that do not pertain to any of the agenda items, you may make them now. If you have any feedback or commentary about items on the agenda this afternoon, I would ask that you wait till we get to those items. So, let me begin by asking, are there any general comments that members of the public would like to make? Sarah or Jim? Sarah?
Yes, I have comments that are not addressed in the agenda.
All right, please go forward.
If you do not know me, my name is Sarah Nagel. I retired a year and a half ago after 35 years as a public librarian here in the Twin Cities, 27 and a half here at Carver County. I am also a Carver County taxpayer for over a quarter of a century. I'm speaking as both. I will send along some articles that I recently found and citations. It was kind of interesting about how Generation Z is starting to use public libraries more. And there's been a big change between surveys done in 2022 and 2025. One reason is the loneliness epidemic, which is a big public health issue, and one would hope that organizations interested in public health would look at that. Another is they're beginning to distrust things like influencers. They're seeing libraries and librarians as good sources of vetted information. Librarian recommendations help Gen Z escape the algorithm echo chamber. Okay, so I will send those on. And I also will send on, there's a 2024 article I found in MidPost about the expanded access, and it kind of shocked me as to things. Anyway, I began 29 years ago this month, I started at Carver County. I think I have mentioned how backward the library was in 1997. If not, I'm more than happy to fill you in. The next 10 years were transformational. Staff FTE more than doubled. Collection budget more than doubled. 2 new buildings were built and 1 enlarged. A new computer system was installed. Hours were expanded. Staff levels at all branches were increased to safer levels. A minimum of 2 staff at each branch during open hours. And this was before the bigger new Chanhassen libraries built. When I started, there was 1 person in a branch and they did everything. We are now set to go backwards. Library staff has already been cut, and it's going to continue into 2026. This reduced level reduced level of staffing will not be able to sustain either current open staff hours or all the programs, like ILL. The ILL person is going to retire. No one else has time to take on that work. So their decisions will have to be made. If people think that it can be sustained, come talk to me. Some basic and essential library tasks are now being done by people making 2 or 3 times the money, which in addition to being counterproductive, goes against the county's emphasis on value. Okay, let's talk about extended access. The library board must take an active approach to this. I noticed in the April meeting that the Public Services Division Director was here, which surprised me. I can't remember the last time he attended. He should, because that person should, because it seems to me that's a big part of that person's duties, but any question. Answers to these are needed before extended access goes to any more branches. Okay, I see there are some MELSA fund. These are the questions, and I will send those to you. I see from the April minutes there are some MELSA funding. How much? How much will the county have to contribute to this? Will this be in the 2027 budget? What is the amount being proposed? If the county needs to save money, then why is it prepared to spend these very large amounts? Staffing has already been cut. How do you expect there not to be cut in open staffed hours and in services? Or is that the plan? Last 6 systems which are already doing EA have not cut staff or open hours. In fact, they recommend more staff. They will also need more robust technology. Is Carver County Library going to be different? Shakopee, the main branch of SCL, is exempt from enhanced access for several reasons, including safety. Shouldn't the Chan Library therefore be exempt as well? Why hasn't staff been told about this beforehand? It's my understanding that the Chan branch manager found out about this when somebody called who'd read about it in the Waconia newspaper. The 2024 article mentions that Carver County Library was thinking about it. Oh, I never heard that. Have there been staffing cuts in other county departments than the library? And if not, why not? How does all of this fit into the county's strategic plan, which is guided by 3 priorities? 2 of them are taxpayer value and customer service. The third is people. If so, why is the county deconstructing library staffing, reducing it? How does this develop and sustain a talented team of leaders and employees at all levels? We hear, well, people want lower taxes. Yet, the eastern part of the county voted almost 2-to-1 last fall to increase their taxes in response to a school board referendum. Evidently, they value schools for many reasons, and the consequences were explained to them beforehand. How does the county plan to ask what taxpayers value in terms of their libraries? Or are they even going to do so? If taxpayers indeed value their libraries and do not want cuts in hours of services, how will you respond? The library has become more important than ever since 2020. Public libraries are considered one of the few essential third places available. Gen Z considers libraries a good place for trusty, non-influencer information. Does the county not know the loneliness epidemic and or consider this an essential issue for public health? It's been quite obvious that this county has been thinking the library is overstaffed for years. How they came to that conclusion, I don't know. They never told us why they considered library staffing to be excessive and or unsustainable. It's one of the things that's just thrown out there. Has the county done anything to mitigate it? Is it showing any numbers to people who have questions? Did it ever think of involving staff in discussions? And finally, business experts say that healthy businesses need to talk with their frontline workers and ask these questions. How is it going? What is new? What you need? Why doesn't the county do this? And just one last anecdote. When I started in 1997, shortly after I started, one of my coworkers said to me, "We have nothing, but we give it to you with a smile." Well, as I told you, we started getting a lot. In fact, people were concerned that when new buildings were built and things were enlarged, we built that small town feeling. Well, it doesn't seem to have happened. And I think, just as so many things, I think COVID showed us even more how greatly how the library and the library staff, which is an integral part of the library, is considered. So we do not want you do not have a library without library staff. If the county is going to probably cut hours and enhance extended access with no staff, is that really a library? The other thing I do not know is other state statutes concerning how many staffed open hours libraries have to be. Okay, that's I could have gone for a long time. I've read these by people. I will send you the citations and the articles. And as I said, the library board needs to take some action. I'm perfectly willing to go talk before the county board. but I don't seem to have much credit with them. The library was sad to see me go. I'm not sure the county, but anyway, we could discuss that later. So those are my comments. Thank you for listening.
Are there any further general comments from the public? Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let us move to item 5. And as I said, I'd like to devote about 30 minutes of discussion to this very important item for the board. Bylaws, arguably, document is the most important document for this board. So we need to take our time with it. So you were sent a draft of the most recent version of the bylaws by Susan last Tuesday. I then did some work putting in some suggested updates and recommended updates. I discussed those with Jody last Friday. We meet the Friday before every board meeting, just go over the agenda and everything. And we discussed them, and Jody gave me some excellent feedback. I then sent suggested updated bylaws document to you. Since then, I've gotten some feedback. Michelle, thank you very much for your sending me a little bit of feedback. And Jody, just this afternoon, sent something to me. She'd been reviewing the document again. So we have some new stuff that has just come on the radar that are not in the document that I sent you, but which I can certainly tell you about that we can discuss. So the history of this document is that it dates back to 2023, but and I guess I'm going to turn to Jim, because Jim, you were on the board for 9 years before. During your tour of duty, there was a bylaws document, I presume. Do you recall there being a bylaws
I
document?
don't recall.
Okay, so...
There probably was. I don't recall.
Okay. Perhaps Commissioner Anderson...
It's been 10 years since
the archives will
Yes,
show...
perhaps.
Right, okay. Well, at least this document here dates back to... actually, I stand corrected. 2020, and then it was updated in 2023, and now, because we have to go through these things every 3 years, it's time for a refreshed review. So I see no reason to go over text that folks haven't commented on. That means that everyone is comfortable with the text as written. I mean, some of this is boilerplate. Other narrative is, I think, personally, a very sensible narrative, and I see no reason to change it. So, unless there's something in the kind of the first paragraph under Article 1 Board of Trustees, I'd like to go to the lower half of page 1, where it says state law gives power to the county library board to. So looking at each of these bullets, I guess the question that I would ask is, are the recommendations in there, are people comfortable with those recommendations? I mean, this is really primarily changing the language, just slight changes in the language, the phrasing, all that, but nothing overly substantive. It's the last bullet which needs some discussion, and that's the bullet that talks about advocacy, because that's new. That's new in this document, and that's something that we absolutely need to discuss. But the first bullet says, be responsible for the establishment of policies and rules governing all library operations, reviews and recommendations of the annual operating budget and 5-year capital plan for submission to the county board. I put in the word recommendations because we don't just review, we also are charged with recommending the budget. Yes, it is. We've been asked to recommend.
Okay. But is that under state law? I guess that's the question.
That's kind of what I was wondering about, kind
Yeah.
of the whole packet, to be totally honest with you. I was like, I don't think our rules can be more restrictive than what the state law allows. So I am a weirdo, and I did print it, but I haven't read it yet, because it's like 27 pages, which I was surprised by. I had no idea.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I just did not know that there was 27 pages around what library boards do in the state of Minnesota. I had no idea. Go ahead.
And what I might propose too, what we could do, if we come to consensus on some potential recommended revisions, I can take it back to county attorney.
Yes,
Have
that
them
would be
go
good.
thoroughly
Oh,
through it to
okay.
see if it
Yes.
aligns.
Sure.
So that it doesn't have to fall on you to go.
Well, I honestly, I really dig on this stuff. In a previous life, I was
No.
Legalese is fun to wade through.
It is.
No, I'm really glad that's terrific. But I think that's what I would.
Highlights in this thing you sent us the attachment. I don't have a mind.
It got really weird. I will say, it got in my email and on. It was weird. I was on the struggle bus this afternoon, getting it to not automatically accept all of your changes earned when I went to print it. It wanted to and then I couldn't. I'm like, well, it's not different. And I'm like, yeah. Oh no, wait, it is. Okay. Oh.
Well, and
So-
so the creation of the document itself was a little bit of a quagmire because
I didn't do anything extra special.
what we were sent by Susan is not a Word document.
Sure.
I mean, you're given a link
Probably
to the
a PDF
bylaws.
for yeah.
Yeah, and so what I did was I copied the bylaws from that link
Sure.
and then pasted them into a Word document.
Got
And
it.
whenever you do that, there's a little risk that things are going to get screwed up when you use track changes.
For sure.
Yeah, sounds like you didn't see the highlighted
No. it didn't show up, but
modifications.
She did.
Yeah, okay, I guess it sort of depends on the software you have, the version of Word you have, who knows? I don't know, that's true, yes, of course. Okay, so, I mean, I think the issue of whether we are authorized to recommend, I think that is something that needs to be confirmed. I do recall instances in our meetings where we have been asked to provide input, to provide a recommendation. But, I mean, when you just review, what are you doing? I mean, you're
Yeah.
reading it, and then you're probably discussing it, but why are you discussing it? Because you want to weigh in on the sensibility of what you're reviewing. I mean, that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I thought the addition of recommendations was fine, because I think that is what we do. You know, Jody or the team brings things to us. You know, we did have to like approve the different systems for extended access and stuff like that. You know,
Sure.
they proposed and we said, yep, sounds like a great deal. So to me, that's more than just review.
Right.
I kind of wondered about the addition of the word all library operations. That felt maybe a bit too big for me. But again, it can go to the attorney to,
Sure.
I'm cool with that. All library operations felt too big. I always
Okay.
thought we were an advisory board. But I looked and I couldn't find anything about the difference between just a board and an advisory board. So that might be something that
And that has changed in the
Okay,
past.
okay.
And there was a switch from a library board to an advisory board.
Okay.
And I don't know what.
2008.
Yeah, and I don't know, yeah, so,
The difference is money.
yes, exactly, the difference is money.
Yeah, because we don't get to say where money is spent, or, I mean, we can,
No.
you know, we can maybe say, wow, that seems like a lot, you know, but we don't get to say, don't do that.
That you don't
Would
send
it
the
be an
checks.
option to leave the state law stuff together and then say the county commissioners give the board want people to be advocates, want to give the recommendations, and just have two separate sections?
I mean, when I read this last night, I called Jody about it. Yeah, I do think we need to differentiate what's actually in state law and what the role is of an advisory board is. I mean, I think it would be good to kind of have the county attorneys look at that.
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess
Because,
that,
yeah, Jennifer did the law library bylaw changes, so she can look at this.
right. As an advisory board, we have the prerogative to provide feedback
Yep,
on pretty much anything relating to the library's operations.
always,
The question is recommendation too strong of a term?
yeah.
I mean,
don't
to
know.
me, feedback and recommendation are kind of the same thing.
Well, and when I think about it, and I think this is a good conversation, but the reason recommendation, I'm like, is we look to our library director and staff for recommendations for a number of different things as well. So like, what is the difference between this board's role and staff's role?
I mean, even if you just change inputs, then you get rid of the meeting side, just
Right.
using input.
Right.
I'm fine with that.
And
There are
I think Jody does, yeah,
There are times when this board, what Stacy was speaking to as well,
yeah.
we look to
Oh, yeah.
this board to
Well,
advise a
interesting. I did not
recommendation
know that.
from, but
And then the recommendation comes from.
Yep.
But that's
So, I
your
mean,
request.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, what do you think of this? Be responsible for the establishment of policies and rules governing library operations. We can certainly take out the word all. Review and provide input to the annual operating budget and 5-year capital plan for submission to the county board.
It's the 5-year capital plan. Do we have 5-year capital plan? We need a 5-year plan. I want a 30-year.
I feel like
Yeah.
I mean, so we're working on it, but do we have a? Oh, gosh. We'll talk about
We
that.
could strike that actually at this one, because we don't have, that is like previous language that I don't know where it came from or when it kind of disappeared out of.
Well, plus our
What do you think?
cities are sort of responsible for the capital part of this. So there's that.
Yeah. And what I'm happy to do is I'm noting these changes as we're discussing, and I'm happy to send out a second draft with the
Yeah.
most recent editorial changes. So I know, Margot, it's really hard to keep track of all this as you're taking minutes. So,
I'm taking just bullet point notes.
and I understand that. Okay. And then the next piece is, and supporting the development of strategic plans for the library system and any other duties delegated to it by the county board. So, supporting the development of strategic plans, here is the thinking around this. So, there's two ways of thinking about this board's involvement with strategic planning. One is that we are one of a handful of entities that have the right to provide feedback to a strategic plan draft. I mean, when you do strategic planning, you get input from internal stakeholders, employees, management. You speak to customers, in this case patrons. You talk to other kinds of stakeholders, including an advisory board. So the advisory board can be one of 7, 8, 9 entities that are asked to comment on the draft. Okay, that's kind of model number one. Model number two is that because we are the external advisory board to the library system, we actually have a somewhat deeper role in this process. We partner or collaborate with management to facilitate the creation of a really good strategic plan. That's more than just waiting to be asked, what do you think of this draft? And that's what I meant by supporting the development of, that we work with management to help bring about a really, really good strategic plan. Now, is that too strong of a role? Is that too heavy-handed?
By
I'm throwing that.
management, so I can clarify, by management, do you mean?
The library leadership, or library system leadership.
Just
You, Jody, just
All right.
making sure.
Yeah, management being
Margo, let's talk about your role.
Yeah, Management being the executive director of the library system and the branch managers, for example. That's
So the
that's
leadership
management.
team.
The leadership team,
Yeah.
yeah,
Leadership
that we
team,
work,
yeah.
with. So
Yeah.
let imagine this scenario. The leadership team is told by the county board that it's time to have a new strategic plan.
Geez, someone has mentioned that.
Yes, okay, you guys need a strategic plan. So library leadership comes to this board and says, we have been asked to develop a strategic plan. We would like to work with the board to help make that happen. Do you have suggestions about what the structure of the plan should look like? The timetable for the plan, all those kinds of things that need to be figured out before the work actually starts. So, I mean, I'm throwing that out as a talking point. It's something for you guys to think about for the next month. My own experience with strategic plans is that when it comes to advisory boards, external advisory boards, that external advisory boards sometimes have that deeper role. Other cases, and this is in the university environment, other cases, external advisory boards are part of a portfolio of voices that you call upon, that you know, the strategic plan facilitators, creators meet with an advisory board one afternoon and ask them questions and get feedback, and then they go off and they're not talked to again.
So I just want to insert, if it's okay with you. So this is a conversation that Jody and Dave and Nick and others have, that I've initiated, because I do think, I want to have a long-term comprehensive plan, and so that's part, strategic plan is part of that. And the feedback I got from my fellow commissioners, not my commissioners, but I brought this to a bigger commissioner meeting in AMC, is we should hire an external person and really do that. So this year we're really looking on current state, where are we at with our libraries, and then hire someone to do that. And I see this board being part of that. It would save us a lot of money if you wanted to run it. But I do think that's a big lift and a heavy ask. And I would like to bring an external person in for that. Funding, TBD. I think we have some options. But so that's how I see that. But that's how we just right. Is that how we discussed it, Chuck? Keep me honest here on looking at that. Just with Chaska Library coming on, as a extended access. I mean, it's time that we really sit down and assess our entire system and talk about the future. So yes, thank you 100% for bringing it up, because I appreciate that. And I think you and I talked about it when we were at the library thing.
We did.
Yeah. So but this, I see this board, this advisory board, as being a significant input into that. Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
So the board could be involved in, could provide feedback on the
approach,
retention,
the process.
the approach, and could provide input on the contracting out to an external, strategic plan facilitator, and then let's say that person comes on site. That person could meet with the board and with leadership to talk about this.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So that, that would seem to support the concept of supporting the development of...
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Although, as tempting as it is to save the money and have you guys do it, I think we need to, I think we need to have an independent person.
Oh, yeah. And if the money's there are really good people out there that you can hire.
Yeah, I hope so. We're working on it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then the next bullet says, be responsible for the acceptance of gift and trust funds and notifying the county board. The previous version says acceptance of those funds. I suggest throwing in the words of the receipt and acceptance of those funds. Not all funds that we receive, we may be in a position to accept.
Boy, don't may find that out. We have very strict statutory laws.
That's,
Were you able to accept the iPad that you won from?
I don't know yet.
I won one at the last PLA and I had to send it back.
I know, I called Dave
There
and
you go.
I'm like, and then.
Couldn't you have donated it to the library?
That's what I wanted to do, but
Well,
we
Mary Kay had some sort of statue that she pulled up and I'm like, really?
yeah, it's sad.
And I feel like there should be a
You have a
sub-bullet
purpose.
that's like, when you're at a professional conference and it's going to benefit the live, you're not going to take it home and be like, ooh, wrap it up for my, nephew for Christmas.
Well, you never know, kind of my, no, I'm kidding.
Like, silly, right?
Well-
No, but I did 100% kind of push back on that, and then we got another one.
And I didn't even put my, they
They
scanned
scan your badge.
and I was like, what, I won something? I didn't enter anything.
So when I got that email, I'm like, seriously? Yeah, can we work around? So we're still waiting to find out.
Okay, right. So receipt and acceptance.
Yeah, I know, because I'm like, can we change this policy, Dave? Dave's not when it's law. I'm like, okay.
All right.
Fine. But I love where you're going with this, Ern.
All right. Well, then the next bullet is really just softening the language around the purview that we have about collections and maintenance. I mean, the board doesn't manage collections.
Right.
It doesn't do maintenance. So rather, what I'm suggesting is be responsible for advising library management on the maintenance and development of library collections. When
That's
called
nice.
upon, we may be called upon to provide input on suggested adjustments in the collection. Okay. Then the next one is actually pretty substantive, and it's something that I've been pushing for a while, and that is that one of the roles of an advisory board, particularly an advisory board to a public entity like a library system, is to advocate for it. There is an obvious role for advocacy by this board, and sometimes advocacy is the most important thing that an external advisory board can do. So I've thrown in another bullet that says serve as an advocate for the Carver County Library in the community to elected officials and to other stakeholders. But Jody made a wonderful comment this afternoon, which is that it's not clear that state law gives power to the library board to do that. Now, that's where our legal review may help. If somewhere in those 27 pages states there may be something about that. I kind of doubt it. So what I'd like to suggest, first of all, let's talk about the idea of having language in about advocacy. How do people feel about that?
I already thought it was. I've got a presentation plan to do at church to advocate how the Carver County Library Board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I already
All right.
thought it was part in there.
Okay. Well, there isn't there. Up to this point, there has not been language in the bylaws about advocacy. Is that pushing the board's purview out too far?
And that's where it's in the matter. We've got state law. If we just put from the Carver County Commissioners, and then give the power of the board to, and just put it right there.
Okay.
We're getting the permission, the power from the commissioners.
Okay. And well, first of all, Commissioner Anderson, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts about the advocacy role? Do you think that's pushing our work too far?
Well, if it's advocating in the community, so today at today's board meeting, we had different performance measures review, and one of the performance measures is the amount of library visits, and we've increased a lot since 2021 because that was kind of a low. 328,029 visits. It's 2.9. Another fellow commissioner of mine said it's $13 a visit. Feeling, and I'm not exactly sure what the thought was on that. So increasing visits.
Yeah.
Increasing visits to the library, providing more services, that the community wants and increasing visits is only going to help our system. And so, I mean, I think that's great, considering 2021 we were at 182 and 1.7 now, of course, you know, most of them. But our number per visits per residence is increasing, so it's 2.6, 2.7. It goes up a tick every year. So go team. And that's part of the strategic plan, right? And that's part of kind of figuring out where we are and where we want to be. Is what are those populations that we need to bring it more in? You know? Yeah.
I have a question. I heard the reference of a visit equals $13 and something whatever cents, but what is a visit? Is a visit just walking in the door?
And I'll be honest with you, I don't know where those numbers came from. I don't know how that was created. I
don't know where the third.
I'm not going to pretend to understand the math.
Right.
And
I just was wondering.
It was said at today's board meeting, if you want to kind of go back and look at that. So I didn't, however, that was brought up by another commissioner, and so that's something, and I'm not sure it's relevant either, but it doesn't matter, that was brought up.
No, right, and my question came from what constitutes a visit. I don't know what a visit means.
Yeah, and I don't know what all these things.
Because you don't swipe a badge, but I'm there every Tuesday to knit.
There's door counting that happens. My guess is that it says door count that's reporting, and that's inaccurate, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
It's door count or total spent on the library divided by door count. That's what I'm guessing.
I would agree. I would imagine.
And it seems like it's easy
and it's like monthly, they think? They track this monthly or quarterly
We
or
track
something?
it every day.
Oh, you track it every day?
We track our people coming in.
Got it. Okay.
It goes into the state report, but to Margot's point, some of our door counters are problematic at times and very inaccurate. And even if they're not problematic, they're still inaccurate because we don't have all of the high tech.
I forgot my purse, so I make it in the first set of doors, but not the second set of doors, and then I go back out, but then I
Or
go
if
back
your
in.
family who comes in as a clump.
Right. Interesting.
You said clump.
That's, yeah, it's a clump.
I promise to not
That's
speak
one
that
person.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I didn't actually think this was a bad number. It is what it is. This is the numbers that are reported. And then you're right, I do think that's how that number was.
And there's so many other performance measures. Not to get so down that pathway,
100%.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that we are talking about is this is one number, and there's other numbers. And, that's something that we've talked about when we look at kind of the, what was that word that I wanted to use? But anyway, executive summary. What are the metrics that we want to use?
Because we have a number of the dollar value of what was provided to the public that was in the library report, which far exceeds what our budget is.
Right.
So that's another measure but you're putting a value on something that is hard to calculate.
Well, all of this is hard to calculate.
Yes.
And that's part of it. So I will say, I think, one of the things that we've talked about, Jody, Nick, everyone is, there's some pushback with the building of Cheska Library, You know that, Jim? People are like, why are we doing that? We need to rebrand what a library is. It's not just a room of books. It is a place where people go for community. It's a place where people go for meetings. It's a place where people go for knowledge. And advocacy around that is huge. And so, sometimes when I hear that, I'm like, is it advocacy to the commissioner? We're going to fund the services that are adding value to the community. The library is adding value to the community. I think we do a crap job at selling our story,
Well, and
at telling our story.
And that's.
And that's not criticism of you guys. You've got a lot to do. But I would love to see the library board kind of take that.
Well, and thank you. I appreciate that, and I think that what we've needed is language in a document like this that empowers us, that charges us to go out and do this kind of work. I mean, here's some examples of advocacy that have already taken place. This year and last year, I joined Jody and usually one other member of the management team. We went over to Library Legislative Day at the state capitol. That's every February. There's a couple of events under item 6 of the agenda that are opportunities for us as board members to advocate. There are opportunities to attend county board meetings if we wish. We have the right to attend county board meetings.
It's too bad they happen in the day and they're not, because they're good snoozers.
They're good.
You really need some sleep.
Yeah, I mean, there are just there's a variety of things that we can do to be effective, and the thinking is that if we have language in the bylaws that make it clear that that is a role that we serve, it empowers us. There's a sense of empowerment that we can go forward and do this. So, with regard to the comment that Jody made, and also kind of a variation of what you said, what I would like to suggest is that all of the bullets underneath state law gives power to County Library Board 2. We wrote that together into Section 1 of Article 1, which would be titled Library Board Responsibilities Authorized by the State. Those are things authorized to by the state. And then there would be
In addition.
a Section 2, Other Responsibilities, and under that we would put in the language about advocacy. So,
The other thing, sorry.
no, go ahead, please.
The other thing is, how, since we've mentioned it several times, is changing this and referencing it to Carver County Library Advisory Board and putting that language in there. Because right now it just says Library Board, and even amongst some of us speaking here, it's like,
Right.
which one is it? And really enforcing that it's the advisory board.
Officially is the advisory board, is it not?
I
It is,
believe
okay,
so,
well, let's
I
make
believe so.
sure.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that we get that in there. Okay, advisory board, and
And there's different spots you drop it in, but then to make
Yeah.
sure that it definitely
I feel like I saw
is
it.
on your
It's
mission
on
and
my
your
agenda.
It
It's
is
on the binder.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did
So,
see that in the office the other
in
day.
interest of time, I don't think we really have more time to kind of hash this one out, but I'm putting it on the table for you to think about between now and the next meeting, this advocacy role. And as I said, I'll send out to everybody a second draft. The rest of the modifications are actually just pretty minor. You made a substantive comment, I think, Michelle, about shall versus may.
Yeah, this came up.
You want to speak to that?
So in, let's see, what section is that? Section 5, Parliamentary Authority. It says Roberts, you had put Robert's Rules of Order, latest edition, shall govern parliamentary procedure. And I said to change it to may, because shall means we're supposed to. If we don't follow, then any decisions we make could be considered void.
Correct. I agree with you. There are certain things that we must do, that we're mandated to do. For example, the library board needs to have 5 members on it. That's the current rule, so we need to enforce that. We need to maintain it. But then there are other things that I agree with you that we could change to may. Perhaps you and I could have a back and forth about that, so I can include those in the next draft.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so, looking down here at section, where it says Section 2, vacancies and disqualifications, there's a piece in there about board members missing three consecutive meetings. And this is something that Jody and I discussed, and we both agreed that the issue is really not missing 3 meetings in a row during the year, it's missing 3 meetings in a year. That, I mean, we have altogether, 8, or we have at most 10 meetings, because we don't meet in December. We don't meet in August, so 10 meetings. If you miss 30% or more of meetings, that's an issue. Except if there are very, very legitimate critical reasons why you had to miss, and you let the board president know, and the board president is fine with it, as the bylaws say. If you just do not show up for 3 meetings during the year, according to the bylaws, that constitutes a quote-unquote resignation.
So I will say that the state law says that they can be removed for misconduct or neglect by the Board of County Commissioners or the mayor.
Oh,
Or the mayor.
okay.
If it's just a city library.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because they call out city
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
So I highlighted that only because there's a specific subdivision 3 of what 340.
You really are a nerd.
Such a nerd.
I love it.
Such a nerd.
Okay. Well,
So it's something to just consider. Like, send it to the legal team. If the legal
I think
team
so.
doesn't have a problem with it, then
yeah, well, and
Cool.
there may be some reasons why that more draconian language wasn't included in
Right.
the bylaws.
Yeah.
It wasn't really necessary.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my sense is that given the culture of the board, I don't think that kind of language is
I know. I'm like the board or the county commissioner for misconduct.
Sorry,
or
So-
I'm gonna,
neglect.
once again, you might wanna not, that, you said absolutely, this board, rock
But
on.
there may be other.
But
there's future
down
boards.
the road.
That's right.
Yeah.
And having experienced that,
You got
and
it, I
currently my
understand.
husband is, it's good to have language that allows
Plan for the worst.
thorough
And
legal
plan out, you
attention.
never have to use it.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Well, Stacy, why don't you, if you don't mind, just
Yeah.
research that a little bit more
Yeah.
and send me something, if you feel strongly.
I
about
can
it.
even look at Anoka's and I can look at Scott
Yeah,
County.
that'd be
I
great.
mean, just like what are other people doing?
That'd be great. But is there any concern about taking out that word consecutive?
No.
Okay, all right. Then under officers, the only thing of substance is taking out the word appointing committees. So Jody and I discussed this, and Jim, during your 9 years on the board, were there ever committees of the board?
I don't remember, I mean, it's been 10 years since I've been off the board.
I got it. Yeah, that's what I'm reaching back to the early 2000s.
I don't remember if there were, but I think there might have been.
Committee officers.
There may have been committees.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, I'm suggesting that we think about taking out language about appointment of committees, because I've certainly not heard of a committee of the board. It's a board of 6 people, including 1 ex officio member, our youth representative. It just seems like we're an awfully small entity to have committees, but it's something for you to think about. Maybe
Well,
you can think of exceptions to that.
Didn't you set up a committee to review the,
Right.
I don't remember, the charitable
Oh, the Dalkey grant?
Dalkey grants?
Was that considered a committee?
That's a separate.
No.
This group just appoints one member to that board that I oversee.
And that's the
committee.
Dalkey grant.
I mean, that's a good question, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this group isn't identifying that whole group.
But you could have a committee for, an ad hoc committee for something here and there.
The only thing would be, maybe you want to leave it in there just in case.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
What you're doing right now is kind of an ad hoc committee, is
Yeah.
that you're pulling
That's true.
That's
information.
a good
Sure.
point.
So-
Okay. Okay, well, maybe we
Fair.
should consider keeping that in there. All right, everything else in the document is really something just for you to take a look at. I mean, it's just minor procedural. I'm cognizant of the time, and we have other items on the agenda, so I'd like to close discussion of this. I want to thank you very much for your input. Yes?
Just for clarity, I'm going to include that you're going to work with Michelle to rework
Yes.
this, and then you are going to send it to Jody, and then Jody, are you going
Correct.
to send it to the group, or is Jody going to take your document and bring it to the county?
Well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to solicit some information from Stacy and then
yeah.
Michelle, and then anyone else that has thoughts, and I'll round everything up, create a second draft, and how about if I send it to you, you take a look at it, and then I can send it out to the rest of the board. How does that sound? Everybody comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So-
Great discussion.
Yes, thank you, absolutely, thank you. All right, so turning to unfinished and new business, I mentioned a couple of events, and I'd like to just alert the board members to 2 events that I'm actually attending, and that I would love it if any of the rest of you would have the time to join me. The first one is the MLA Big Issues Summit, which is going to be held on June 22nd. It's out in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Brooklyn Center.
Right. So basically, it's a big gathering of library leaders, workers, and advocates from around the state for an unconference-style summit focused on the biggest issues facing our libraries and communities. It's an all-day thing. Registration is free. There's an optional $20 lunch. And I'm signed up for it. I did ask Jody about whether the system could reimburse us for our lunch if you buy a lunch, and you indicated that would be possible. So that's greatly appreciated. So just wanted to alert you to that. This one-day summit, the Big Issue Summit, Brookdale Library, Monday, June 22nd. And then there's also a 2-hour legislative forum that is held virtually on Monday, July the 20th. Join the legislative committee and representatives from MLA's legislative partners at this virtual forum. Hear from partners about their 2027 legislative priorities. Share your priorities with the committee and help shape the platform. I think that's a really cool event. So 1 to 3 p.m. That doesn't cost you anything. You just register for it. So here's what I will do is I can send this blurb that I have about both events out to the board members. So you can take a look at that if you're interested. All right, so that's item 6. Turning then to item 7, administrative reports. Jody, thank you for your very detailed, well-written executive summary. Go with that first.
Okay. On my notes. One moment. There we go. So, I just wanted to kick it off with, we have launched right into the heart of the summer reading program, which is really one of our biggest and busiest times of the year. And so I asked Margot if she'd give a brief update or overview about that program for you. Yes. She works as liaison to the youth services team, so.
So I mentioned at a previous, I can't remember now, I feel like I told everybody. The youth services team, which is made up of librarians and associate librarians from across the system, so every branch is represented, evaluated the program. This has been, I don't know how long, forever it's been going on. We'll just say forever. Evaluated the program in December and in January, November and January, and in that evaluation they looked at what was working, what wasn't working, any thoughts or ideas, but we broke it down by what do we keep, what do we get rid of, and what do we add. And one of the main points of discussion over the time before that and leading up to that and then during this conversation was that the emphasis seems, in terms of participants, seems to be on winning tickets. And the prizes seem to be more of the motivation, and as much as we would like to have that, these tickets are not always going to be a given, yada, yada, yada. And also the team felt that it was distracting from the point of the program, which is, the point of the problem, too, is literacy. They revamped it and simplified and streamlined the process, and the focus is less on prizes and more on literacy and summer fun. So in doing that, what they've done is instead of having 3 trackers for 3 different age groups, they're down to 1, and it's 1 tracker per kid per summer. There was a program that we did called Read, Write, Draw historically, but it provided a lot of false data because it was huge numbers. But what it was if you wrote reviews you would win a drawing for addition. You could write 15 reviews and get drawings for tickets. And what that was happening is people were coming in with stacks of them at the end of the summer with one sentence on them. So it was there were people who wrote, kids that wrote beautiful or drew beautiful reflections of their book, and they didn't have, and by beautiful it could be a scribble, the little kids, bug, everything looks like a bug. So there were wonderful things, but they just felt that it really was distracting from the point of the program. So in doing this and streamlining it and removing that read, write, draw, kids can still submit reviews and have them available, but there's no tickets attached to them. So basically there's one tracker, and when they read it, if they finish it, they bring it to the library, they get a free book, and then they get their name in a drawing for either tickets to the Minnesota State Fair, to Sea Life at Mall of America, or another book. And that's the main drawing. Now, we still are getting tickets from MELSA, our partner, metropolitan area partner, and they facilitate these tickets. And they are at the mercy of whoever wants to give tickets. And so we are getting tickets from the twins, but we are not attaching them to anything. It's just kind of a come into the library incentive. Historically, we've had drawings across, and it's been crazy. This year, when we get the tickets, and we don't know when we're going to get them, and we don't know what games we're going to get or how many are going to be in each bundle, we just get them. When we get them, they're going to be assigned to a branch. So this game is going to be at this branch, and this game is going to be at this branch, and we're going to promote them, and it's going to be a week before that people can come to that branch and enter for a drawing to win those tickets. So there won't be unused tickets, which was a problem with the twins, is that we had people that would win a ticket pack and they couldn't go, yada yada. Anyway, see, I'm spending too much time on tickets. So
Yes, you are.
Summer reading program. Where we're at right now, 9 days in, is we have 771 kids signed up. And I can give you, yes, so 100 teens and 671 kids, 0 to 11. And let's see, where are they? 40 have got the free book.
Wow!
So we are already talking about next year and how, we really, and when I say we, I really just facilitated the conversations. The librarians are interested in getting more books into the kids' hands, so we're already discussing what next year might look like. But this year, it's a good baseline, and we'll have real numbers. So that's my update.
How many?
Great update.
How many stickers or what? How many of them agree to get the free book?
Oh, 40.
Have
Here we
already
go.
gotten them?
Actually, I can
Here's
pass
them right
these around.
downstairs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Okay, if you want them, you can have. There's a teen.
Oh yeah, there's
And
oh yeah,
there's
I got one.
the
I got one in my name.
So,
Yeah, here.
and
Oh my God.
the staff really did a great job pulling these together. Aren't those cute? Oh, did you get one?
I had a question about the
I feel like I
was at the library this weekend, and I
wouldn't
feel like, I saw that for like in the concession there,
Oh, and I have the birth to 11. You have
but there wasn't like the normal like binder with all.
I really need
I don't
those
see
because
that.
we haven't got them in yet.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
That's cool.
I mean,
Okay.
aren't these the cutest little things though? Some are doing these.
So there still is like a place to do them?
Who wouldn't want this?
Okay.
So, these,
Yeah, that's cool.
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, teens are still
So, thanks for
You're welcome.
No,
I
yeah.
was just thinking, are we
Support
getting
out.
farmers markets? You need anyone go sit at any of the local farmers markets.
We do have staff that are, last year we were not able to do outreach in several of our some of our branches, and this year we really bent over backwards to make sure we got out into the community. We do have people at farmers markets, we do have people at other public gatherings. Also this year, Cologne, our team was already talking in the West, these are western branches, granted, but Carver is one of those that's also getting a program this year. At the City Hall, our librarians in the West were already planning on trying to do work in Cologne and there. Cologne in particular is very interested in having the library there. We were at an event last week. It was just a story time kickoff for summer reading, so we had all the materials, all the sticker, everything was there. We had 115 kids and 27.
Wow.
27 adults? 47 adults. I can't remember. I have to look again. But
In
something said it was
Cologne.
probably 20. In Cologne, in that room. So it was really a great turnout, and kids stayed.
Did the fire
and did-
marshal know? That sounds like.
Yep. Nope, the
Be
city-
quiet.
The city knew, we were not expecting it.
Right.
So
No, that's
it was,
awesome.
and granted, we had Cologne Academy, and next year,
Yep,
we
yep.
are able to do it again. We want to make sure we know, and we'll probably do it in the gym. We
Sure.
are going to be back in, I know Carver has an event coming up in, is it this month or next? It's in July, I think. Oh, maybe not. I don't know.
No, I think it's in a couple weeks here, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's, the staff from Chaska are doing a program in Carver community, and Waconia, Watertown, Muirwood, Young America staff are doing the mayor tomorrow kickoff. Next month, we've got the Bazillions at both of those locations, and in August, we have a family craft where our new adult services librarian will be there with one of our children's librarians, or me, depending. So,
All right.
a lot of good work being, and that's just a sample. There's every branch is doing great work everywhere. These librarians are awesome, and associates, when I say librarians. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Joe, do you want to carry on with your combination executive summary and library director report?
Sure, a few other things. Actually, I will go to the new Chaska building project next. And I'm going to have Kevin speak to that a little bit, where we're at in the process. It's definitely gaining a lot of steam
Yeah.
quickly moving forward.
Right. So we're at the choosing architects stage right now. We had 12 submissions. We reviewed that as a staff design group, and we whittled it down to 5. And then yesterday we had a marathon session of interviews. We do have a couple that are our favorites, just from listening to their experiences and their hopes and dreams. And they will be announcing the choice at the city council meeting on Monday.
All right.
Okay. And so, speaking to your hopes and dreams of
Yes.
the library being more,
Yes.
that's what we're going for.
Rebranding.
Yeah.
Rebranding what libraries are. Yep.
So yeah, how do
Okay.
how do we become more?
We
Yep.
already are more. We just need to let people know.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's very much in partnership with City of Chaska. City of Chaska, because they we have joint powers agreement with them. They build the building structure, and then everything.
Then we just do it.
Everything we do everything else. So,
Yep.
yeah. Anyway, so they are very much just really kind of leading us and facilitating us through this initial process, and then the next step. I think will really be launching into community engagement pretty quickly. And I know this board will have an opportunity to share input as part of that feedback at some point. Staff will have multiple opportunities. Kevin, Nick, and I are part of that's the library staff design group.
Staff design group.
And then Amber, Commissioner Anderson, and several other folks.
The task force.
Task force.
Yeah.
And I believe they're doing interviews for the other community members.
Yes, they had, I want to say 32 people apply to be part of the task force, and they whittled that down to 8 people. They had to do that because the city council has to interview them and choose who's going to be representing just the public at large.
So were they interviewed, or they're the 8 people to be interviewed?
To be interviewed, yes.
How many get chosen?
I think it's 4,
I think
yeah.
it's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more
Yeah.
to come. I don't know if anyone has questions about that.
Exciting.
Very exciting. Definitely.
Really quick, Jody, do
Sure.
I remember that the Chaska Library is going to be built where the DMV is now, and the DMV would be moving into
Next to the DMV.
next to the DMV?
The DMV is
will
not
stay.
Got it. DMV is not moving.
Like
Got it.
encasing the D.
All around.
An
Right.
L shape around it,
It
yeah.
might
Got
be
it,
a
okay.
little
Yeah.
squeeze out.
Got it, okay.
Okay.
It will be cozy.
It will be cozy.
Which is okay, because we get a lot of people from the DMV who
A
come
ton of
visit
people
us.
from the DMV.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
love the DMV.
You know, you get the whole you have 30 minutes.
Right.
Like, I'm going to the library. That's what I do.
A few other updates. Obviously, I had 2 back-to-back pages here this month from the last 2 months. So we do have several staff departures that are coming up, one of which is actually one already occurred. One of our amazing associate librarians, Melissa Winan, is departed us to take a position on Pioneer Land System, but it's closer to her home and family. But that's really unfortunate. She's really been a fantastic team member. Bob Lincoln announced his retirement as of July 7th, and so he will be greatly missed as well. And he has greatly appreciated this board's partnership when he's had the opportunity to interact with all of you. And then we have a Chaska Library assistant as well that will be heading to graduate school in Iowa at the end of July. So the unfortunate piece with any vacancies is that at least we know right now, and I noted the 2 that we've had vacant are still on hold. We're not able to recruit for those. And so it's a little bit unknown yet with some of the additional vacancies what that will look like if we'll hold on to those positions for a while. So I will keep you posted as we move forward. What I think what I shared with staff and all staff, one of the concerns is that because we don't know really ultimately what 2027 is how that's gonna play out yet budget-wise, the county, we would rather not fill a position and then have to turn around and lay someone off. I mean, that's one of the unfortunate pieces behind driving that, I think. So, so just wanted to share that with you.
So Jody, like what gets deprioritized if you don't have somebody doing the job? That's a good question.
We pull inside the library.
But we can't keep doing less with, more with less.
Right.
We can't.
This is the
This
second year.
this is as well. Right now, I think it's also worth noting that's not part of this is we had 2.5 library assistants. We were able to promote a shelver to a library assistant, which was awesome. And we asked to repost because our next 2 people declined to take the position. And at that point, we were asked to make a decision between replacing the shelver or at that second 0.5 position. So we opted for the second 0.5 position because they could, but now we still have an 8-hour-a-week shelver in Waconia, but now we have lost that, our other shelver, which is wonderful to be able to promote, but now it's official that all of our staff in the West that are library assistants are shelving, and that's not been a part of their job. And I know that Eastern branches are trying to hold on. So your task is kind of different because you don't really have them any either.
We don't have any.
Right.
shelters,
So,
yeah.
and I know, but it's something to keep in mind. It takes a lot. If you come in our back room today, and we've got carts and carts and carts of books, and we are Waconia, and it's a little easier in these smaller ones, but this will it impacts service. And some of our staff are a little frazzled, and I keep saying, go slow. They can wait. So we talk customer service, but they're going to wait because I don't want the staff burning out or getting frazzled when I see them harried, like the most put together people looking pretty harried. I'm not one of them, by the way. I was harried. But so I think it's an important thing to keep in mind with all of this is the impact is being felt. I think it's being felt now in Chanhassen, but it's really being felt. And I've asked, what is our bottom in our western branches? And I think that's going to be the case eventually for Chan and will be potentially the case for Chaska depending, is what is the bottom? I feel like we're at it. And again, we have an adult services librarian, but she's serving 3 branches.
Our branch managers fill in way more than they technically should be. There's many more other
I would say more than our neighboring systems do, for sure.
Systems and
Yeah.
library director has also stepped in a couple shifts to keep our buildings open recently. So we'll leave it at that. So when you see staff, tell them thank you and for all that they're doing. And of course, with this being our busy, like, we're busy year round. I don't mean that we're not busy other times of year, but this is like all hands on deck for summer reading. So, yeah, do stop in and say thank you. And say bring treats. I don't know.
Lots and lots of chocolates.
Chocolate.
We are adding volunteers.
That's how I got through the dance as a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I only hear things that I
You like what Sheldon
know that I like need to repeat. Otherwise, I ignore it. No, we are looking at bringing in shelf or volunteers just to shelf, and I'm looking at a Saturday rotation because that impacts the staff less, and we can get through the week more. And because people are often retired, it's not like they're going to be Sarah. Sarah's like dynamo.
Yeah.
They're going to be, not
So you get a
Sarah's
couple.
speed.
I'm looking, I've got two
So-
17-year-olds that don't have
I was-
summer jobs yet.
Well,
And I told them, you're gonna get the job of volunteering.
You'll have to, the summer volunteer time is past. Right now, we're looking at adults because for us, will be an ongoing thing. It's not a
Well,
summer
if
opportunity.
it's a Saturday, they can do it year-round for the school year.
We need to, yes, I totally agree with you. I'm just a little reluctant because if it makes more work for our staff,
Okay.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's me as a manager. I hugely support giving opportunities to youth in the library, but right now I want to make sure our staff are covered and that our basic services are being met. And it does, I organize volunteers, youth and adults, and it's a lot of work for youth in particular because they have sports or they have this or they have that. And they should do all those things, but so we can't count on youth volunteers. Oftentimes we can count on adult volunteers. We like youth volunteers, by the way. We love them.
Has this been run by the union?
Pardon me?
Has this been run by the union?
We have no.
I got it. We got to get through the rest of the agenda.
Okay, I just-
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Jody, anything further with your report?
Nothing
Right.
other than to say that we are ready to soft launch extended access. Hopefully, do I say tomorrow?
I was
I
wondering
will
that.
know tomorrow morning when I'm here at 7 to make sure the door is actually unlocked. So yes, very soft launch tomorrow.
Very soft.
Very
soft
soft.
launch.
We do have
Very
4
soft.
people who have registered. 1 person has gone through the training. I will be here. Everything is set. It's just there's some things that we have to see once it actually is fully activated if everything's working properly.
Excellent. So does that conclude your
Yeah,
report?
unless
And-
anyone has other questions.
Yes. Any last questions for Jody on her report and executive summary? Okay. Mr. Koktabi isn't here to give the division director report, and Patrick is not here to give the Chanhassen and Victoria branch report. So that leaves us with Kevin and Margot for their branch manager reports. Kevin? Talked a little bit about the Chaska Library already.
Yeah.
But what else?
It's very exciting. I can't wait. So I just want to highlight a few things. In my report, I had the Read Stay Play that is becoming or has become really much more important for kids to actually have a space where they can play and imagine, because the go-to is to hand them a screen these days. And having something out there where they can just kind of interact with things is becoming much more important. We reached out to all of the Chaska libraries, all of the Chaska library schools, I personally visited all the classes at Carver, and there are 6 sections in some of those grade levels. So I think that was about 750 kids. And I think overall, with my team, we saw it was over 3,000 people, 3,000 kids that we talked about summer reading. And it was happening out west as well. So it's hook them when they're young. I always say,
Yes,
get them
yes.
in, excited about the library. They will be lifelong learners then. We had a session at Chaska about artificial intelligence, and we're also scheduling some out for this fall. Because a lot of fear around artificial intelligence, so we're trying to get the information out there.
Excellent.
And hence a good reason why we included language at the last meeting about artificial intelligence.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Anything further?
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. And then Margot, the Western branches.
Extended access here, it's in the report, most of it. I do want to say that we had our staff meeting, we're trying to have them 2 times a year with all the Western staff. Since we're in 3 different buildings, it's very hard to get together. We're continuing our work to set a plan that aligns with the strategic planning that provides our communities what we believe they need, what these library professionals believe they need, and work within their resources. So that's an ongoing conversation, but it's really good when we're all together. They're all participatory and wonderful, so I appreciate them very much. Staffing, I gave you some of the information there. I do want to say that we do have a full-time staff person in the Western branches who works in all 3 branches who is on extended leave, so we're short an additional 40 hours a week. And we're, I think, on week 4, and hopefully they'll be back by the end of the month, but I don't know for sure. I do mention, Kevin had mentioned the outreach. We did make an effort to do some outreach this year. Our numbers were nothing like that because we're unable to just wait. Cindy did, I think, 4 tours in one day. And that's a big deal for us to have her out that many. So our numbers may seem meager, but this was a big deal for
They're
us.
smaller schools, so.
Well, it's not, no, she's not even doing everything she would normally do.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I'm very clear on how great it is, but also it's important to know that this is just a drop in the bucket of what we could be doing and what they've done previously. But they are looking to the future and what we can do and what I can do to help make that happen. So it's very busy, it's very good. People are taking vacations, which is awesome, and they're coming back somewhat energized, or at least with a tan. So everybody does look forward to summer. So yeah, and then they'll look forward to September in about 4 weeks.
Erin, I can speak briefly to Patrick's report.
Thank you.
Just a few highlights. And apologies because the January report was included in the packet versus I handed out a June report. The J's got mixed up. So on the first page, he noted just very successful book sales with their friends in the library at both branches. And then, as he would say, there's lots of great pictures of cute kids reading and doing activities. And then if we hop over to page 5, the Friends of the Library sponsored a craft supply swap, which had over 300 people in attendance for that activity, that program. And then over on page 7, there was a Taylor Swift
Cover band.
I was going to say not the real Taylor Swift, but outdoor concert at Victoria, which brought over 150 people in attendance for that outdoors. And then on the final page, there's a lot of construction happening around the civic campus of the library in Chanhassen. And I will say thanks staff and patrons for any of you that have tried to navigate there as well. Hopefully, the plan is that most things will be up and running by July 4th for the big celebration, but who knows with weather and all of the things that can impact that. But anyway, that's Patrick's update.
Yes, and as always, the color photos are so appreciated and add a lot of wonderful things to our packets. Is there anything in relation to the media packet? We always get these wonderful media packets. It's great to know about how the media are being informed about our work. Any commentary or whatever about that?
Just thanks to staff that are, putting that effort in. And retired staff, Kathy Pershman's in there doing a lot of readers advisory as well, but just to keep us out there in that platform, especially with the Carver County local news. So
Yeah, and it's just, it's so important that we do that. It's whatever we can do to amplify the work that we do and to amplify the value that we bring to the community and frankly to advocate. The media are there at no cost to us to do that. So.
And when Patrick and I write our articles, we tend to focus on more of the activities
Yes.
than the books. Because we got Kathy Pershman. She's doing a great job with that.
Sure.
Yeah, so we tend to talk about all the things that you can do for free at the library.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, well, it is 5 minutes till 6. Are there any closing questions? Anything we missed today from the board members and the members of the library team that are here?
I just want to point out that we're encouraging our staff to use the technology that is embedded in for ADA compliance. And so part of what we're trying to do is make sure the fonts are the right size and describe pictures. So the reason why it says 2 cartoon seeds sit reading books is not because I don't think you can figure it out, but to work toward that ADA compliance.
Wonderful.
Great, thanks.
Okay. All right, so our next meeting is Tuesday, July the 14th at 4:30 p.m. and we are meeting in, I always forget, where's our next?
Mayor, I believe.
Mayor?
I think, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Which is another another drive.
That's another drive, but we sure do have wonderful ways of seeing the county.
That's just actually located in Oklahoma.
Yes, okay, so I would ask that between now and July 14th that you please, board members, please take a look at the bylaws draft. I will be sending you another draft after I get input from folks, and I'll keep it simple. Rather than show all the track changes, I'll just send you another draft, you know, without all these editorial markings so we don't run into the problem.
Mine will show up.
We
Exactly.
could do both. We could do the track changes and the clean one. That way you can see
Yeah,
what's
we can
changed.
do both. That's right. So the plan is that we will vote to approve the bylaws, the modified bylaws at the next meeting. So we'll need to devote some time at that meeting to finishing that discussion up. So you'll be getting some stuff from me about that. I realize we didn't have time to look at the EA stuff, but you mentioned that you hadn't given them a heads up anyway.
Yeah,
So-
and you certainly can see you can point to the extended access, what are called controllers, the keypads on the way out.
Okay.
Just there's lots of things that are not right yet.
Yeah.
So like the
Yeah.
text, don't get upset if it says the library is closed. It's all going to
Sure.
change.
Okay.
We have a few
excellent.
things to tweak, but we're getting there, so. yep.
Okay. Well, then I want to thank everyone for attending. I want to thank the members of the public for coming to today's meeting as well. And I wish you all a safe drive home and a nice evening. And then we'll see you on Tuesday the 14th. And of course, reach out to me anytime if you have thoughts, ideas. I'm a repository clearinghouse for any stuff
Yes.
that's pertinent to the board. That's part of my role.
Do we have to have a formal adjournment?
Yes. The last rite of passage here is, can I have a motion to...
Lindquist, motion to adjourn.
Yes. Can I have a
Bachman second.
second? Okay. I don't think we need to take a vote on this. Thank you all.